The New York Times has obtained never-before-seen confidential video from the war crimes investigation into former Navy SEAL Edward Gallagher. Members of SEAL Team 7 were interviewed about the accusations against Gallagher. He faced nearly a dozen charges, including allegedly murdering a teenage member of ISIS. David Martin has more on what members of Gallagher's team told investigators.
I think he just wants to kill anybody he can.
Dark testimony from members of SEAL Team 7 paint a chilling picture of violence by their platoon chief.
Did he say anything when he did this, or did he just literally pull out a knife and just start stabbing him?
He just pulled out a knife and started stabbing him.
The evidence obtained by the New York Times was part of a war crimes investigation into Edward Gallagher, a decorated Navy SEAL who was accused of fatally stabbing a young ISIS prisoner. It includes never-before-seen body cam footage in which you see Gallagher over the limp ISIS fighter's body before the camera is switched off.
Did you interpret him as a threat at any point when Gallagher stabbed him?
I did not, no.
Okay. Is there any doubt in your mind that these are war crimes?
No.
Corey Scott, whose testimony in court was crucial to Gallagher's acquittal, was also interviewed.
Did he do anything that could be interpreted as lunging, attacking Eddie in any way that would justify it?
No.
But on the stand, and after being given full immunity, Scott took the fall for the boy's death.
They tried to frame me as a criminal from the get-go.
In July, Gallagher was demoted after a military jury convicted him of posing for a photo with the ISIS fighter's corpse. A Navy board also considered stripping Gallagher of his trident pin, symbol of his status as an elite Navy SEAL.
They wanted to take his pin away, and I said, no, you're not going to take it away.
Last month, President Trump intervened and restored Gallagher's rank.
These are tough people, and we're going to protect our warfighters.
A move that angered many in the Navy, including former Navy Secretary Richard Spencer, who was ousted after requesting the president not get involved in Gallagher's case.
I don't think he really understands the full definition of a warfighter. A warfighter is a profession of arms, and a profession of arms has standards that they have to be held to, and they hold themselves to.
Gallagher, who just this week met with President Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort, has repeatedly expressed his gratitude.
I don't know how many times I've thanked the president. He keeps, stepping in and doing the right thing.
CBS News national security correspondent David Martin joins me now. David, thanks for being with us. We want to start with the response to this. How is Eddie Gallagher responding to these videos?
Well, he has, of course, known about the videos for a long time. And today, after they were aired, he issued a statement by email calling them blatant lies. And he went on to say that they had been told by members of his team to cover up their own, what he said were cowardly actions in Iraq. His attorney says that these statements were made without having to be subjected to cross-examination in the courtroom. And in fact, when one of these SEALs did testify at the court-martial, he was granted immunity, and he changed his story entirely from the one he told the investigators. And he said that it was he, not Eddie Gallagher, who had killed the prisoner simply by putting his thumb over a tracheotomy that had been inserted in his throat.
David, the Times referenced an unwritten code of silence among the SEALs. So is it unusual for Navy SEALs to speak so critically about a member of their team, especially their platoon chief?
It is. It's the code of silence among SEALs is something that every reporter that tries to cover them has encountered. They are very tight. They've been through this unique training that only a few can endure, and then they've made repeated deployments together into combat zones. And in fact, one of the knocks on the Navy SEALs is that they are more loyal to the team than they are to, say, the country or the mission. And in fact, another unit from this same SEAL Team 7, was recalled from Iraq this past summer after a July 4th party at which alcohol was consumed in defiance of a general order not to consume alcohol in theater, and at which an alleged sexual assault occurred. And one of the reasons they were brought home was because none of them would agree to talk to investigators. They all clammed up and stuck together. So to see this code of silence broken, and broken in a way that is aimed at taking down the man who was the chief enlisted petty officer in that platoon is extremely rare.
Right. So we know President Trump supported Gallagher all throughout his trial and cleared him of all punishment just last month. Gallagher posted photos of the two together earlier this week. How have service members and military officials responded to the president's support for Gallagher?
Well, you know, it kind of depends on whether you think Gallagher was guilty or innocent. Those who think that Gallagher was getting a raw deal are in favor of what the president did, and those who think he got what he deserved, then they are not in favor of what the president did. I think most people, at least the ones that I've talked to, just don't have enough of a command of the facts to know, and they look at it and they say, well, you know, the court-martial acquitted him, so we have to go by that. He was convicted of having his picture taken posing with a corpse, and he admits that, and of course there's visual evidence of that, and so he had his rank reduced 1 grade, and that's what the president reversed. And then I think it probably more important to many in the SEAL community, the SEAL command wanted to take away his trident pin, which is the pin you wear on your uniform that is the symbol of your status as a Navy SEAL, and probably means more to a SEAL than his actual rank. And that too, of course, the president insisted that the Navy not take it away.
To that point, since Gallagher won't face punishment here, could that discourage other SEALs from speaking out about any misconduct in the future? Well,
you know, first place, Gallagher spent 8 months in the break, so it's not like he got off scot-free. But I think it depends on what happens to those SEALs who spoke out. Are they retaliated against? And there are two kinds of retaliation. You know, one is you get a bad fitness report and you get passed over for promotion, and that's very, very obvious. And the Navy has issued instructions not to have any of these SEALs retaliated against. But then there's the for the SEALs, a worse form of retaliation, which is being ostracized. And you can be within the team but still be a pariah for having spoken out. And that, because of this code of silence, is probably something the rest of us will never know.
David Martin in Washington, thank you.
Sure thing.